with pride worldwide. This is for the dreamers, rebels and crew, for the fans in the back and the diehards too. Break the chains, let the passion ring. We're calling out hate in the squared off ring. Kicking out at 2, where the love runs deep and the fight stays true. Kicking out at 2, no tribal lines, just respect me and you.
These days and all those who slay, welcome back as we break down the heartbreaking end of an era and navigate through the massive fallout of WWE Black Friday 2 Termination Boogaloo, coming to you straight from bell to bell. Welcome to a special edition of Kicking Out 2. I'm Michael, and with me is the main event mindset, the chaos curator, and the future whom never gets endeavored, Tori. Hey, Tori.
That's solid. Future never gets endeavored. That's nice.
I like that.
That's well done. That's a good one. Chaos coordinator is pretty solid too.
Tori hit me up yesterday and asked what I was doing today, which is a whole lot of nothing. So we thought maybe it'd be a good idea to pop on here, talk about what's been happening. I know everything I see on Twitter, everybody's hurting. The backstage is hurting. For those that aren't aware, there was an announcement made that there were another handful of terminations. JC Mateo, Tonga, but the biggest of all of them, the shocker, is that the New Day has decided that they're not going to be there. Now, just to be clear, they were not terminated. However, they were offered a reconstructed deal from TKO to be a TKO deal instead of a WWE deal, and they declined it and they walked away from it. Now, obviously, we don't know any details as far as what the difference was between the two, but they decided to make that move. So I just wanted to make sure that we're clear that they weren't officially terminated. However, their contract is technically terminated. So the idea is they're probably going to have the non-compete on there.
I would assume it's. They probably are like, we're going to keep you on your current deal for the next 90 days. There's no chance they let them just walk away.
Yeah, I mean it's insane.
Can you imagine?
Like it's 12 years, 11 tag title reigns, a change in culture, shining light on two different communities. Talking about the nerd adult community and the black community. Which obviously we don't have the melanin to talk about that, so we won't be doing a lot of that. But I mean, there are people that I know and people I've seen on Twitter that are heartbroken because they were able to shine a light on a culture that is not represented very well in wrestling, WWE specifically.
Kofi winning the title was so huge.
It was.
Like, I was a huge Brian Danielson fan. I still am. I'm a huge Danielson fan. The 90 Days Clause is that okay? Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Kofi beating him at Mania was amazing. It was an amazing moment. Like, I was. Do what?
Well, welcome Sports and Things, and I don't think I've seen you in our chat before, so just welcome.
I haven't either. Thanks for coming. It's such a huge thing to think, okay, we're not going to have Kofi or Woods on WWE TV anymore. Like, what?
Well, I mean, to be fair, not to make light of the situation, but we haven't had them on American TV in a long time, because the last few months of their presentation has been during the commercial breaks that you only can see overseas. They've been doing vignettes and stuff, but we don't get to see it. So maybe that was part of it, that they were just kind of tired of being swept under the rug. I mean, we're talking about one of the most predominant, if not most predominant, tag team of the modern era, if not of all time, because they did beat the record for demolition that was set so far in the past.
The Usos turned around and beat that during the Bloodline thing, but there's no, to me, there's no comparison between, and I say this excluding the Usos because the Usos were and still are one of the. I'm not as happy with their current body of work, but their overall body of work is untouchable.
Yeah.
If we're talking who's best ever, 1A, 1B, the New Day and the Usos.
Absolutely. At least in the WWE bubble. Like obviously we can go out and talk about um the size and the magnitude of teams like the Young Bucks and all that. But if you're talking about WWE bubble, like there's no
No,
comparison
no,
to what they've
and
done.
depending on what you're talking about, 1A and B are completely interchangeable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that one is always 1A and the other one's 1B. No. If you're talking in ring, it's the New Day.
Yeah.
If you're talking Mike, it's kind of a push.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking actual tag team continuity, it's the Usos. I just the fact that they were like, we just signed you to 7-figure deals last year that would have run through 2030, and now we want you to restructure them to be TKO deal. Are we doing this? Is this the Time Warner thing with WCW? Like, what are we doing?
I'm glad you brought that up because I thought the very same thing. Like this seems very reminiscent to those last few years of WCW of, well, you're no longer, hired by WCW, you're hired by AOL. You're no longer a Turner employee, you are now an AOL employee. It does seem very reminiscent of that. WWE sources are reporting that the people backstage are very shocked. Kofi specifically was considered a lifer, and he's been
Yeah,
signed since
right.
2006. There was actually a stat that I
20
saw earlier.
years.
Kofi has been there 6,675 days, which surpassed Hogan's tenure with WWE. So he's actually been there longer than Hogan had been.
I literally have been just, for the past 24 hours, been like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you let Kofi and Woods go? Okay, does that mean Woods has given up, down, down?
See, and that's the thing. There's so much that's tied into this because you've got up and down, up down down, which he owned, but there was a point, and he made the announcement himself that WWE purchased up down down, so that would be on their YouTube channel and on. At the time, they were talking about streaming services and all that, and that they were buying it as a product for them to do on there. So does he get that back? Does he buy it back? Do they take it and give it to Breezy?
Does he change it to left, right, left, right?
That's a good point. Or is that now a product of up down down because of the title being made and all the references on it? Like, is that a copywritten thing for that? But that brings that to the front of, Woodsy had stuff that was not just WWE adjacent. It was just his own thing. And what happens to that stuff now? They originally had their pod that eventually had died. Let's be totally honest with it. It's a dead product at this point. But they had the pod. Is that something he can still do? Can him and Kofi decide to do a podcast instead? Which, if so, rest in peace to all these other podcasts because those dudes are hilarious together. But it's weird that all of this time that they've been with them and you let them leave. Like that's crazy.
You had a deal with them and you're like, let's restructure. And they said no. Why don't you just say, okay, well, then we're just going to keep you on your current deal?
Yeah. Like that seems like a strong arm decision that shouldn't have been done.
I definitely wonder. And then the news came out later yesterday that Roman has now been pulled from all of the June shows.
Yep. Which you were doing a little bit of research on that before we went live. That initially it looked like it was all international dates, but there is one non-international date on there. The thought would be, is it his health? Is that why we're worried about it? We're worried about the leukemia stuff, worried about him going overseas. But then he is scheduled for Riyadh. So, that seems like it may be unlikely there too. And I said this term to you off air earlier. Correlation is not causation. So it may not be connected to what's going on, but it's weird timing that Roman is now being cut from like 6 or 7 dates. I've actually got them written down here. So pulled from June 1st, June 8th, June 15th, June 22nd, which were 4 episodes that he was specifically advertised for. And then of course he's set to defend the world title with Jacob at Backlash. I'm like, how are we going to promote that now?
Well, Backlash is like a couple weeks. It's in May, so I'm not stressed about Backlash. But after are you going to put the title on Jacob?
Yeah,
because he's not ready for that. He's not in the position for that.
No,
I love Jacob. I don't say that as a knock.
No, not at all.
But he's not Punk or Roman.
He's not ready for the corporate side of that. Could he hold the title and be a threat in the ring? Absolutely. But all the talk shows, all of the media, there's a lot of stuff for you holding that title that I don't think he's ready for being thrown into that. Because like as much as we love Jacob, he's had a rough past, and you put him in a situation where he's constantly being pulled everywhere, it's real easy to fall back into old habits that make you feel more comfortable. So I would worry about him being thrown into that type of position. But it didn't stop there, obviously. Before the official announcement, you saw that JC Mateo and Tonga Loa were also put into the alumni section of the roster. So that was a completely out of left field thing. And then later, the notifications came out that they were also part of it. There were essentially 20 people, from my understanding, and I've yet to see a full list. 20 people that were let go, most of them being like backstage people that, or developmental people that we won't know. But I think that's a great word for it, Stampede, an absolute train wreck of what's going on here. Just holy hell, all these people being let go. Xavier Woods obviously can move forward as Austin Creed, he's kept his name out there because of Up Up Down Down, because of all the other stuff he does. He's kept that name going, so I don't think it'll be as hard for him. Kofi Kingston,
Kofi's his real name, his first name.
Yes. So he can go around as Kofi. He can do the Cody thing of
just be Kofi.
Yeah, just be Kofi for a while until they accidentally let it go. Breaking up God is weird to me. Now, I want to be perfectly honest. I've had this conversation with Tori. I'm not a big Loa fan. I don't understand what the hype is around Loa. But those two together were something special. And that's the other thing, is them letting go of Loa but keeping Tama Tonga. I mean, obviously, I think we both can agree that Tama is the Sean of the group. He's the one that if anybody was going to break out of that group, it was going to be Tama Tonga. He's got the charisma. He's got the in-ring. He's there. But it's still weird to let them go. And especially because we talked about when we were talking about Kairi, of course, things have came out since then that Kairi apparently asked to go back to Japan. She was wanting to go back home. So that may be more of what that was involving. But the MFTs were in the middle of something. And so we just wrote them off by Jacob injuring them. And then they're gone. That's strange that we chose to let people go in the middle of a story. The same thing with Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller just kind of shows back up in a completely different look, not talking about the New Day at all, when he has been essentially the third stepbrother of the group. So it's strange that we're just kind of letting these people go and then just pivoting completely and not talking about it.
It makes me wonder if we're doing this, who's next?
Yeah.
Like, how much top level talent can they let go before we start going, hold up? Like,
Yeah.
what
I
are you
mean
doing?
the initial thought, obviously, like if you think about they're restructuring your contract, usually that means we're paying you less money. That's usually what that comes down to. Yeah, for sure. Um,
Tonga's 43.
I think that's right. Sounds about right. I trust Stampede. Stampede always comes with the facts.
I mean, fair.
Um, but I mean, you have a good point there of who's safe, but that's mainly to me because like with them restructuring deals, it sounds like it's a payroll decision. This is a decision of them tightening some strings, and there are some people that are gonna know their worth, and that's the key note of it is knowing your worth. The
Right.
New Day, they could go anywhere together and bring eyes and bring levity. Imagine them showing up in AEW. Imagine them showing up in TNA. Like that group, it will bring eyes because they are so good. After the slam over there in TikTok, hey, hello, welcome in. We're just kind of talking about the recent let goes with the special edition. Um, but yeah, I mean, who is truly safe at this point? They're restructuring the deals of the best or next to best tag team that they have, which they aren't even focusing on. They're not doing anything with. Who else is going to end up on the chopping block or deciding to leave because they're like, hey, we're going to restructure your deal and you're getting paid this much less. Um, we obviously we can gush about New Day all day, and we talked a little bit Tonga Loa, but JC Mateo, Jeff Cobb, that man was a
That
beast in New Japan. He
and
was
you turned
even
him into
better. But
a bust. Like,
yeah, yeah, you turned him into this silent, fifth string player for a group.
so to be honest, I don't know a ton about him in terms of microphone work,
Mhm.
but I'm fine with him not talking a ton. Like, I'm not worried about that part. But you have one of probably the best wrestlers and nothing.
That is very much a
Stampede,
good point, Stampede.
Hunter. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like I, it's entirely possible we're going to see a crazy sped.
Bad welcome
I
in.
think we're going to see more. I
Oh,
said,
for sure.
what, a month ago? 5 to 7 years?
Hmm.
I said 5 to 7 years, they won't be number one. It may be 2 to 3.
Yeah. Which is a crazy thing to say because we were just having this conversation just a couple of years back of like, AEW will never reach that number one spot. The WWE is the stalwart. It's the standard bearer. It's the Band-Aid brand. It's the Kleenex brand. When you think wrestling, you think them. However, Jesus, making some of these decisions, and I get like, I want to be clear. Vince used to say this term, and as much as we don't like him, the term still stands today. Nobody's bigger than the business. However, if you let go of some of your mainstay stars, the people that have a fan base that will follow them wherever they go, you're going to lose. Like that is not a smart decision. I would love to know, and we probably never will, or someday we might if we get like a shoot interview or if we get a book from either one of them. I would love to know what the sticking points are. Like, what was the point that TKO was like, that's too far, we're not doing it?
Putting them
I
on
want
TV,
to know what
letting
that
them be
is.
themselves. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. The character that they've had the past since they turned on E hasn't been great. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad at first, but it got stale real fucking quick.
Yeah. Which, to the credit of both WWE's creative and the New Day, things hit a halt because of Big E not being able to come back.
Yeah.
Like, all of that was wrapped around Big E was going to be somehow their antagonist. Once that didn't happen, we turned them heel, and we've got nothing for them to be heel for.
Stampede 100. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like I said, I think it was about a month ago. I think I had said it before that, but I went on record a month ago. 5 to 7 years, they won't be number one anymore.
Yeah.
If you fumbled Roman, 2 years.
Yeah. And that's the big one, right? Because, like, this weird coincidence that we're also pulling Roman from a lot of dates in the middle of this. Like, are they renegotiating his deal right now?
That I'm aware one may not have anything to do with the other, but if we're restructuring the New Day's deal because of how much they were making, the next logical one is Roman's.
Yeah. That's the next one to look at.
If
Yeah.
Bailey, I pray that she leaves. Pam on the independents, sign me up. I don't
Yeah.
care where she goes. Sign me up.
Well, and not even independence. Like, let's be perfectly clear. We know where she would go. We can sit here and pussyfoot around it all we want. Her best friend is in AEW. Her
Yep.
ride or die is in AEW.
Yep.
And as much as Mercedes has done for AEW, all she'd have to do is go to Tony and be like, "Hey, we need to grab her."
I don't think she'd have to go anywhere. Tony's
Well,
making that phone
Well,
call.
no, I'm just saying, like, even if she had to pull
Oh,
strings,
yeah.
Damn well she's in that office going, "We need to go get her." And yeah, sports and things, Willow versus Bailey, Chris versus Bailey. Hell, bring back the Mercedes Bailey stuff. Have them go against each other for a while before becoming
Run
back
that
into a
back
tag
and
team.
let them actually get in the ring and go.
Well, and then if you have got, hey, Bobby, if you have got Bailey and Mercedes in the same company, and you've got Izzy out there on the independents, they're bringing in people like Nixie XS. They're bringing in
Which
a lot
she
of these
killed it
local.
last night.
She did, absolutely. They're bringing in a lot of local talent that is making waves on online. I don't see them not bringing Izzy in at that point then, and that becomes a whole story. And they can, they can't have the footage obviously, but they can tell the story.
They don't need footage. So when Bailey first started, she was on the independents as Davina Rose. Go by Bailey Rose or Pam Rose, whatever.
Yeah.
We're all going to know who she is. I don't see how you trademark Bailey unless she spells it differently. Can they stop that?
Yeah, I mean, so little lore story there. The original spelling of Bailey was not the way it's spelled. She spelled it that way because she's from the Bay Area, and so she wanted to be a little different. And she's like, "What if I do it BAY?" So that way I'm representing the Bay Area and having the name. So yeah, she could just change it to the regular spelling of Bailey and call
And
it
they
a day.
can't do anything about
Like,
it.
it's the Taz thing. It's the Rhino thing. Taz added a Z. Rhino changed
with
it
a
from a Y
Y.
to Y. It
Right.
just
I
you
just
just make that little change. Yeah, Bailey versus Tony Storm.
there's just so many options.
Yeah,
Give me Bailey and Marina Shafir.
her in that women's division, and especially like with her teaching that she's been doing lately, her becoming a backstage presence in that women's division would be a massive, increase in what they're doing there. Can you imagine, like, I love Chris Stat. There's still something missing. Can you imagine if she was under Bailey's wing for a little bit? helping her build into a better character.
Well, and that's just it. With her doing the lodestone, there's not a chance she's not going to have some kind of school
Yeah,
if she doesn't already.
yeah,
But if she does this as a traveling thing, you know Tony's going to foot that bill.
yeah. One thing I do want to say against, like, we usually promote as much positivity here as we can. One thing I'm seeing online that I absolutely hate is the people going, well, this person should have been fired instead.
We're
Fire
not doing
Logan
that.
Paul instead of this.
We're not doing that.
Fire,
No.
you know,
That was okay. We didn't talk about that Tuesday. That shit was in such poor taste.
it was.
I don't like Logan Paul, but that shit was in poor taste
Yeah.
3 days after what they did.
Which I don't know. Like, it was in poor taste, but would Joe have known? Like, because he writes these
He
songs
was,
himself.
and I get that. I get that. This happened on Monday after Friday. No, I'm sorry. Fix it. Change it. Do something different. No,
Yeah.
that shit was in poor taste. I like Joe Hendry. I hate Logan Paul. Still was in poor fucking taste.
Yeah. It was a weird choice to have, a fire somebody song right after that, and then right before this.
Obviously, he didn't know about this. That's fine. But to do it 3 days after Black Friday and everybody they let go, nah. It was poor taste.
Yeah, it was a crazy choice for sure. But it's crazy to have a company that obviously is caring more about the dollars and cents than they are the people. I mean, yeah, I'm wearing a shirt that I got for $9 off of their website after terminating 5 people who were only there in that group to represent somebody who was such a big influence on WWE that had passed away. A man doing this to help honor his brother. At the very least, why fire Bo? Like, he's got a mind for the business. Keep him backstage. If he's not going to be out there, keep him backstage. But I've said, and I said it on the run-in when I was in their chat, send him over to AAA. That style of wrestling is a perfect spot for the Wyatts because that's where the spooky stuff can work. It's weird that we're doing spooky stuff with Danhausen, the curses and all that. It's weird that we're doing that.
But they're not serious. That's the difference.
I know, and they kind of get away with it because they're talking about like he's backstage trying to pay money to the fireworks crew because he's like, thanks for doing that for me, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they're kind of playing with it a little bit, but the Wyatts, and I said that when they first got together, of at some point the bell's got to ring. And so, yeah, you have this amazing debut of them backstage, and they've murdered the entire backstage, literally murdered Chad Gable, and we haven't seen him since. No, obviously he had a little bit of a run after that, but at some point you had to do it. Yeah.
That part.
And here's my thing with that. I love the funny. I love the haha. But when we're doing that type of stuff, that long segment and the backstage segments after that, and now I saw an announcement online that they're going to be having a funeral next Friday for the gingerbread man. We're really going hard on this story for no damn reason. All because we want to reference the fact that Sami Zayn is a redhead.
This was just posted like an hour ago. Apparently, AEW was given an early heads up on Warner Brothers being sold. That 1-year option that would have been for 2029
Hmm?
is no longer an option, which means their deal runs out in 2028. or 2027. Sorry, it was 2028 that was the extra year.
Oh, that's interesting. Sounds like we're going to be having a few of these special episodes in the future. Um,
I
it's
would
it's a
love
tumultuous time. It's weird.
I would love to see Tony put the money in to build basically a AEW network. I know that their little thing they're doing is kind of like that, but do that 100%.
Yeah.
Stampede that comedy's always been there, and I'm fine with that. But there
Well,
comes a
between
point where you have to actually do stuff, and this is not it. And to do this with Trick,
yeah,
this is terrible for Trick. This is not his wheelhouse.
I'll slightly disagree with that.
No,
His
not.
his interviews with this stuff are really showing his personality. Him talking about look at my shoes, 40,000. Look at my watch, 50,000. And you can ask the legend herself that I can get that ass anytime I want to. Like,
Okay, but tell me that doesn't scream Ric Flair, not comedy.
it does. Like, that stuff he could do in a serious role too. I'm just saying,
That
like,
screams that screams 80s Ric Flair.
yeah.
Um, yeah, they're gonna have to do something because right now I'm even less interested than I was before, and trust me, that's saying something.
Yeah. I mean, I have been personally watching more AEW lately. And of course, we've said a few times on the show that we're reaching out and watching stuff on Triller and seeing these more local talents. But see, I don't disagree with that at all. I like if they could do something like similar to what NXT is doing with CW, get them on a broadcast TV, something that's in every home. Eventually, you could go back to like a TBS or what, like you can get to one of those bigger networks, but they need to get more homes right now. Like I think that needs to be their focus. Um, you know, being on HBO Max is good, but how many people even know that they have HBO? It's bundled with a lot of companies now. Now, if you have Netflix, you have HBO, but do they know? It's kind of like I was just hearing the other day about there was a comic book show that was out that kind of died, and that's because they put it on Cinemax, and the promotions they were doing for it, people realized they had Cinemax, and they didn't know they had Cinemax.
What show?
I don't remember. It was something Kirk was talking about, the creator of Invincible and The Walking Dead, and it was something that he was doing that. Yeah, they like it killed them because they put them on Cinemax and nobody knew they had
So
Cinemax.
if WB Warner Brothers Discovery was bought by Paramount, Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Paramount Plus is a pretty solid little. Go for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's more obviously if they stay, because that is still kind of a weird thing too. Like, why are you on HBO Max if you're owned by a company that's part of Paramount?
Well, because they were on that before it was
Yeah,
sold, and they already had the deal, so they've got to keep it.
yeah, but
But I'm curious to see where this heads with that. But there's just if you okay, so the New Day's gone. What happens if the Usos leave? Can you imagine?
yeah, I love Solo. I do. Bloodline's dead at that point. You're not doing any good Bloodline stuff
No,
if the Usos leave.
no.
Um, Roman can't carry that on his own. But,
So the Usos could obviously go by their given names, like
yeah,
Josh and Jonathan. They're Fatus. Like
yeah. Well, yeah.
Fraction's another one. They'd kill anywhere on the independents. Those two are amazing.
And what are we doing
I
with
just
them?
Exactly. If AEW signs Woods and Kofi, I need a tag team Continental Classic or a tag team Owen or something.
Yeah.
I need them even if it's a one-off. I need the machine guns. But look at their tag division. What?
Yeah, I mean it changes the game. And even just saying like they didn't use the New Day at all, at least not on US television. We're not using Fraxium for anything. The Usos even like are a secondary part of a storyline right now. We're not even focusing on them being a tag team. The MFTs are next to nothing now that it's just basically Solo and Tala, which I like Tala, but
You need him with the others.
yeah, yeah, he doesn't have the presence.
Stampede, I think the Usos would be okay because first of all, we can stop eating because that's fucking awful. It's done. You've burned that shit out. You've beaten that drum till it's dead. It's like songs that get played 9 million times for a month and then you never want to hear it again. That's where we're at.
The whole bringing it back thing, like all of that was fun
For a minute.
It gets old when you're starting to do a run at the back in the middle of a Royal Rumble.
If you bring back the Uso Penitentiary, bet, let's go.
Yeah.
I just, at this point, who's next? And what's going to happen?
Yeah. It really does show that like nobody's going to be safe in this environment now. They don't care who's gone because I think honestly in TKO's opinion, you can plug anybody into that spot. You can tell
you
that
can't.
by them firing so many people that they did just to turn around and hire the people they did. Do I think we need to focus on a younger talent? Absolutely, but you don't get rid of people that can help those younger people. You need the legends, you need the icons in that conversation to teach the new kids as they come in. Like I want to be clear about something. Like to me, one thing that I think they're doing proper that the internet right now is going crazy about is Evil going to NXT. I get Evil is a big presence, and I get he is a massive talent. He's never worked for WWE though, and WWE does have its own style.
Yeah.
So him doing a run down there, just so he can learn the TV side of it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. That makes perfect sense. AJ said it himself. He said he wished he would have done that.
Yeah. Stampede, you're not wrong. They might, but they may be fine. Put them in there with an FTR.
Yeah,
run that one back a time or two. Let's see how they do. Run them in there with Edge and Christian. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Sports and things. Charlotte. That would be nuts. That would be if you start going after all these big money contracts because they all have them. There's a lot of people that came back with them. Well, and you lose people because of it. It's a game changer.
We talk about dominoes. All right, so you've got the Bailey. If then you have the Charlotte. And I think Becky's already said this is her last contract. If AEW could sniff all four of them
one time.
Yeah.
Just once.
That itself would bring a massive spotlight to AEW.
Just pulling Charlotte would. Run her out there's Ashley. No one's going to be upset about it. Because I guarantee if she's using that name, she owns it.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, but so were the New Day.
Yeah,
they were signed through 30.
It's if they decide to restructure her deal.
Yeah.
And hers may already be restructured. Like that's the thing. Like we don't know obviously the backstage politics of all of this.
Right. And
Yeah, she did trade. She
uh,
trademarked to Ashley.
she trademarked Ashley. When?
I would assume when she came in. Like I would think that like as as much as I don't like her dad, I'm pretty sure he taught her a lot. Which number one would be like trademark
Protect
your
your name.
name, because if they take your name, then it's theirs. John Cena's seeing that. Like obviously he doesn't seem to care, but um,
I'm just this. It's like Stampede said earlier. We may be watching it in real time.
yeah,
You lose enough people, you're going to lose a chunk of audience. And when that audience stops watching your product, they start watching a different one.
yeah,
Whether it's TNA, it's New Japan, it's AEW, it's GCW, it's any of a number of other promotions. What happens when you lose a third of your audience? What happens when you start having, you remember when AEW first started doing traveling
hmm
and everybody was all over, oh, look at all the empty seats. What happens when it's a Raw? What happens when it's a SmackDown?
yeah,
What happens when it's a pay per view? Like this in real time is crazy to see happen.
yeah. I mean, TKO's looking at this, and we're not multi-billionaires. We're not running
No.
a me. We're running a media group.
And to be
So
fair, we have no inside knowledge. All of this is from what I've found, we've seen on like Twitter in the past 24 to 48 hours.
yeah, between that and Fightful, like
Yeah.
that's where we're getting our information. But like TKO is running WWE like a company that's lean, high efficiency, trying to make it as streamlined as possible. And I don't know if that model works for wrestling, because wrestling has always been kind of its own thing. They're clearing payroll to make room for new growth, but you're prioritizing that over nostalgic loyalty. There's a reason why, up until the last couple of appearances of him, why every time Hogan was on the screen, ratings went up. Because that name brought eyes. Do you start losing people that are those same types of names, that's going to be a problem. Love Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints, excuse me. But if Cody left tomorrow, who's Ricky Saints going to face to make him a bigger name? And
Wait,
who's
I'm
going to show
sorry.
up to see it?
I'm sorry. We're doing Ricky Cody.
Ricky Cody already happened. His debut on SmackDown was against
Was
Cody.
Cody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I love Ricky Saints, but he's not a headliner, not yet. So we start losing these headliners. What are you going to do?
His debut on national TV was Cody.
Mm-hmm.
So he took that L on his opening match.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you don't give a fuck about somebody. You ran him out there with Cody?
That's one of those things we're probably going to disagree on. I think him taking the loss isn't that big of a deal. I watched the match. It was a good competitive match between the two. Saying he's not as good as your world champion, I'm good with. If he goes
I
against somebody else next week and loses, now I have a problem. But
I'm good with he's not. You're not wrong on that, Stampede. I know he. I get what you're saying about that he's not as good. This is his intro to their national TV.
mm-hmm.
No, having him go against Cody was the worst option. Run him out there with somebody to. I saw that JC beat Charlotte. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm honestly fine with that because JC is going to be the next Charlotte.
Well, and that's the thing. If you think back, 10 years ago ish, I think, I don't know, when Charlotte debuted in the same sense, she was beating Nikki Bella, which is at the same level that Charlotte is now. So
Yeah.
it that's how it goes. It always kind of rolls through. Which I don't think Bobby was saying that that she shouldn't have. I think he's just pointing up the fact of like,
No,
well,
but I
Ricky
agree.
could have beat someone big, which I agree. Like I said, that one I think you and me are just going to disagree on. I
I
like
just
that
don't like it.
decision. I think it's
I
different.
don't like it.
Um, if he goes in there against
Mellow.
yeah, we'll say Mello next week and loses to Mello, okay, now you're kind of burying the guy. But
I also want to know where the fuck is Mellow?
he posted a thing the other day um, saying that he would be seen soon. So I don't know.
Really? Okay. And I know Cody trained him and all of this. I get that.
Which they kind of told that story. Like I would say before you make that decision, don't watch all of SmackDown because it was kind of droll to get through this week. But the interview segment at the beginning of the show and then the main event of him versus Cody, watch those two things. It was a good story, which I'm good with. That's another one. Ilya Dragunov just kind of there.
That's that's what I'm saying though. Like, if Dragonoff left, if he left, he goes to Japan and kills it. He
Mhm.
goes to England, Europe, and kills.
Well,
Like,
I hate to beat the dead horse, but he goes to AEW. If they focus on him,
I
he
don't
kills
want
it there
that.
too.
That's why I didn't say that. I don't want that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying he would kill it there too
Yes.
for the time that they focus on him. He's looking for tickets to Backlash. Yeah. He's looking for a seat. He has to do a second mortgage on his house too to get a seat there. Ironically enough, so this past SmackDown was in Tulsa. I saw a guy on my timeline post. He was waiting until like the day of to get tickets, and thinking that they would drop. They actually increased the day of. They went from $50 for like nosebleeds to 75, which is crazy.
So the nail salon we go to, we went and got our nails done yesterday. A guy that works there had my AEW hoodie on a couple times, so he knows I'm a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me yesterday, "Did you go to the show at the BOK last night?" I said, "Absolutely not. For what they charge, no way. And their product isn't that good recently anyway."
Yeah.
Stop me when I'm telling lies.
Well, and like we've obviously gotten kind of off topic here, but like if we want to talk about like misuse of what you have, Xavier Woods a couple of times has sniffed that main event spot and you shut him down every time. It makes me wonder, is there someone in that company chain that just doesn't get him or doesn't like him? Because we give him the King of the Ring, which he's been wanting forever. He's always said that was, to him, that was the title. That was the world title. Because
Yeah.
he was there for like all the King of the Rings, that he loved that idea. And then just a couple of weeks later, you have Roman destroy the crown and destroy any semblance of King Woods. He beats Roman Reigns and you don't give him an actual title shot at any point.
Hunter, like, so on a separate note here, well, it's kind of the same note. My boy Isaac from the gym graduated with his bachelor's degree last night at ORU.
Congratulations.
He walks across the stage, acknowledging. I'm
Mhm.
like, he posted the picture. I'm like, "Did you acknowledge him when you walked across the stage?" He's like, "Sure did."
That's wonderful.
But he's a good dude, and shout out to Isaac.
Yeah. But to go back to that, though, like he was in that tournament for the U.S. title. That would have been a perfect first singles title for Woods. He's the only one in that group that did not have a singles title. He's the only one in that group that didn't have a world title either, but that's a whole other conversation.
Did you see what Big E put on his Instagram yesterday?
I saw something. I don't remember what it is. Refresh my
The
memory.
animated thing with
Oh yeah.
Kofi and Woods
So
walking away with the.
the guy that makes their gear drew that. Which obviously I don't want to say I did it first. However, I did make that same thing with John
Yeah.
Cena,
Yeah.
but neither here nor there. But he
Oh.
drew that. It's a spoof off of a Spider-Man comic of Spider-Man walking away, Spider-Man No
Right.
More being the comic. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. And that's the thing. If they do go somewhere else, I hope they do change it up. I hope it's not the same New Day. I hope we get something new from them. But either way, them together is going to kill it. Oh, for sure, the Bucks will make the New Day look like $1 million. And if they go over there, that should be your first thing. The first thing should be them doing something with the Bucks, because we have been waiting years for that. All of the back and forth on up, down, all the stuff at the video game tournaments.
I want Kenny and Creed. Give me that.
Yeah.
You get Creed in there and actually let him go.
Yeah.
That dude is so good.
Well, and I don't even think we ever got to see the limitation of how good he is, because you have to remember he was a collegiate wrestler too. Like, the man can grab, but we never got to see that because that's not how WWE works. WWE works with the spots, their moments versus the actual in ring. Hey, welcome in. Glad to see you here. Someone that could probably talk more. Final Boss Baby, do me a favor. Put some stuff in the chat here of what New Day has done for the culture. Because I would love someone that is more melanin than us.
We lack the melanin to have this conversation.
But I talked about it just being an adult nerd. They showed that playing video games at our age and watching anime at our age, like, there's nothing wrong with that. We can be that and still be adults. Doesn't mean we have to lose the whimsy.
I saw that about Detroit. If they sign the Guns, they could conceivably debut in Detroit.
Absolutely. Yeah. The difference between well, and here's the thing, even inside their own company. Because we talked about on Tuesday that TKO, I don't even think, realizes NXT is a thing. Because even in their own company, you think about NXT versus the main roster, NXT Ciampa versus main roster Ciampa, two entirely different people.
Absolutely. So I'm obviously scrolling through Twitter, checking shit out. Somebody put 20 hours ago, wrestling just not hitting the same anymore. I'm trying, but this product is losing me slowly. MJF replied. I first saw that MJF replied, and I'm like, fuck. He replied at AEW, Chris Stat, Willow, Persephone, Megan Bain, Athena, Windsor, Jamie Hayter, Shafir, Maya World, Mina, Queen Aminata, Sky Blue, Tekla, Zeta Steel, Red Velvet, High End, Sheeta, Harley, Anna J, to name a few. Girls that will come back, Mercedes Moné, Tony Storm, Diamante, Penelope Ford. No big deal. This man just put over his entire women's division.
Yeah. Well, and
in
even
one tweet.
There's few chances where I think MJF drops the character. This was also one of those too, because he actually even said something about the New Day being let go. Of essentially, like, it is a new day.
He knows.
Yeah.
There are a few people that have pulled eyes when they came over. When Danielson and Adam Cole debuted, was huge. You bring in Woods and Kofi, you're going to bring a lot of eyes to you.
Yeah. They're going to bring some stuff in there.
And yes.
I would hope they also, like, and I'm going to bring this up until the day they fix it or the day I die, one of the two. The fundamental problem with booking nowadays is that we focus on one or two things and that's it. They need to have a different person booking for the different areas of the business. A tag team person, a women's person, a main event person, a mid-card person, so that we don't lose focus on whatever division we're talking about. If they could go over there and be like, hey, let us run the tag team. I mean, they have built a legacy in their tag team. And it shows they get it. They get how it works.
Let them and Edge and Christian do it. Boss Baby, I think the other side of it is, obviously we are not melanated enough to have this conversation, but how much did they affect the culture for black wrestlers in general? Like, yes, they were good as a comedy gimmick, but also good in the ring. But Kofi's win, I saw the video, somebody posted it again, of MVP and Shad getting emotional about it.
Yeah.
But not just that. Big E's wins, their tag wins, just everything they did as someone in the culture. How was that meaningful? And maybe in the culture is not the right word, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. A Willow put them over because she said without them, there's no Willow.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where I was going to go with that. Them changing the culture. I mean, in general, but let's talk about where it breaks out. They broke down wrestling culture in the backstage because and I remember specifically the interview with Taker when Taker said, you know, we used to come back to the back and we'd have a fifth of whiskey and we all were packing guns and da 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 da. There are more people backstage with PlayStations now. Like that in just general of changing that culture to where now we're being safe backstage, we're having fun backstage and not doing this old, you know, I've got to be a tough man bullshit.
Yeah.
Them changing the original gimmick, because the gimmick that Vince came up with was a very, let's face it, racist gimmick.
It was racist as hell.
Well, you know, Big E's dad was a preacher. Let's lean on that. Let's make him a, you know, a black church gimmick, and them changing that to morph it into what it was. Like that's crazy. That's right. Real men had knives.
But there's just so much that even from the outside, I was such a huge Kofi fan.
Mm-hmm.
From when, yes, definitely his ethnicity was not handled correctly.
Yeah, coming out as Jamaican initially.
Wait a minute, I thought you were Jamaican. That shit was hilarious. Like it was funny. But he was actually from Ghana. So yeah, they definitely did him a little dirty on that. And when you're in that position, you don't think you can say no because at the time you couldn't.
Yeah, I'm getting a spot. I'm getting a chance to get my foot
right. Like they had the chance when he had that feud with Randy and he fucked up the race car. And then they had that match where he did the boom drop or whatever on the tables, on the like the electrical equipment.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity. That would have been the perfect point to push him to a main eventer.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And that told you everything you needed to know about the backstage.
Yeah. Well, and in the same reference, like Kofi Mania was amazing. It was groundbreaking. It was important to so many people, but it ended 6 months later in 10 seconds. And we were supposed to be okay with that.
Them and the Rascals would be fantastic. Who are the Knockout Boys? Knockout Bros. I don't know any of the other three teams. I apologize. I'm not educated.
They're pretty hard hitting, like as the name can
right.
say, but they're a pretty rough team. I can't imagine what's going to happen. Obviously, in the next 90 days, what we're going to see. I have hopes of where they're going to go.
Same.
I have hopes of what they're going to do. But here's the thing, and I said this on a tweet replying to the fact of them leaving. Woods never has to wrestle again if he doesn't
No.
want to. He's got ties in hosting. He's got ties in YouTubing. He's got
Gaming.
ties in video gaming. Like he could do anything.
He could walk away right now and be done.
Yeah. Or he could go through and do a lot of fun stuff. Like one of the things that I hated, Chris Danker, YouTuber we've talked about on the show before, now Chris Danger on the Indies. He got into learning how to wrestle because he became friends with Woods. Him and Woods, when Woods was doing YouTube, like they got together for a charity stream, which it was like a 10-hour charity stream. They raised so much money for different things, but they became great friends. And so when he came out that he was officially becoming a wrestler, he wanted his first match to be Woods. But WWE wouldn't let him come down there and do it.
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah. And so like he got Breezy or I think no, his first one was Sean Spears, which is one of the people that trained him. But like he could go down there and do some fun stuff with Chris. He could travel and do, very much what Cody did. Just kind of go from company to company, getting notches on his belt of working for these different things that he didn't get the opportunity to before. He was a big deal in TNA. It'd be awesome to see him go there and win the world title because of all the time he spent there as Consequences Creed, which is a very underrated character. But you saw how much that they cared about that when Booker T was doing his own commentary as he was kicking his ass in the ring. Like, you saw at that point how much they cared about Consequences Creed.
That shit was so funny though.
But have him, go to Mexico and do some stuff there. Have him go to Japan, do some stuff there. Like that would be a great opportunity if that's what he wants to do. There's so much stuff he could do. Kofi could be done if he's been smart. Like, let's be clear that like that's if he's done his due diligence to save the money. But he's been in the business long enough and he is old enough that he could just walk away and be done. And maybe that's what he's going to do. I don't know. I hope not. I think he's got some more gas in the tank. And I think he's got a lot he could offer, both in the ring and outside the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, you might catch a couple of their matches. They're good. They're kind of a no nonsense type of tag team, so it's kind of fun to watch.
Like an APA type tag team?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, sad day. I think we've sat and talked about this enough for the day.
I think
But
we've covered what we can cover. I mean, I'm sure
yeah,
there may be more by Tuesday.
there may be. We may hear more more by Tuesday too. But I appreciate you guys coming here to grieve with us over the big loss in the business today. I will say WWE is really good about putting their stuff on clearance when people are gone. Got this shirt for $9. I got some side plates for the Wyatts for $9. Go check out their stuff and rate all the good merch. Obviously, you're paying the conglomerate at that point, but at least you can show some love because I think they still get in perpetuity. I think they still get a percentage of it if I remember correctly.
Right.
Punk saying when he left the first time he was still getting residuals for stuff that they were selling. So at least you can still give them some residuals that way. But I'm sure we'll see a New Day Pro Wrestling Tees shop here soon. That'd be nice to see. Yeah.
So, when MJF typed all that out, he didn't spell Jamie Hayter's name right or Anna Jay's first name right. Somebody called him on it. He said, "I'm typing on the Stairmaster. Fuck off."
I'm in my third set. Leave me alone.
Right.
But yeah. Since we're talking about rough things in the business. Obviously, we had some unfortunate news about Rebel, which
They shouted her out last night on.
that's what I want to bring
Collision.
up. They shouted her out on Collision. I did see someone post something that I think is a great idea. And Tony, I know you watch the show because we're great, right? I agree. Make a Rebel action figure and have it go towards ALS. I think that's a great idea.
Give her a cut too.
Yeah. Help her out with some of these bills that are obviously racking up at this point, and so that is the thing I want to. We can end this on a positive note. I'm afraid to say this name because Stampede's in the chat. Aaron loves wrestling. Me and him still follow each other. But he did post something the other day that I thought was very poignant. And he was talking about how, in Rebel's announcement of what was going on, she mentioned that Tony was paying for her medical bills and the medical journey that she's had to go on. And it brings me back also to Maven did a backstage thing where he showed up at, I want to say it was All In, and walked around backstage interviewing people.
Yeah.
And he mentioned, he was like, hey, just how does it work with you guys here? Like, obviously, when I was working in WWE, and what I've heard goes on now is that they are responsible for their own cars and their own hotels and all that. And Becky Lynch actually recently, just in the past couple of months, did an interview that verified that, because she said we have to pay for our own hotels and our own rent-a-cars and all that stuff.
Which is why so many of them have gotten buses.
Mm-hmm. As much flack as I give Tony about being a fan that's playing with his action figures, the fact that he's paying for her medical journey, the fact that he pays for their expenditures, that shows a lot of character. So, thank you, Tony, for that stuff. He is a good dude for looking at them as humans and not just a number on a sheet.
Definitely.
Unless your name's CM Punk. Which case, then you flinch and fire. Anyway, appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, we will be back on Tuesday to talk more wrestling news. Hope to see you then. Until then, though, we will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2. We stand together with pride worldwide. This is for the dream.